Hi, and welcome to A Mug's Life. In this podcast, guests bring up to 5 mugs and we chat through each one, the stories they hold, and what makes each mug so special. Grab a cup of tea or any drink of your choice and come and join us.
This month's guest is the brilliant Alice BUGEJA, a keen runner inspired by her dad's love of running, and after starting a small business with her mum during the pandemic, Alice launched her running wear brand mileoff earlier this year in March, after noticing a gap in the market for a women's wear running brand. We talk about how her experience in the corporate world gave her the skills needed to take the leap and launch a brand of her own, with 2 main missions. The first, to develop the best performance wear for women in the world, and the second, to dare women to dream bigger. Since launch, it has gone from strength to strength, growing organically to 46,000 followers on Instagram, as Alice shares the realistic behind the scenes of being a solo founder. Their run vest, which was designed specifically with function and fashion at the heart of it, went viral, with many runners then posting about the product unprompted and simply because they loved what mileoff and Alice were doing. Every single launch has been a huge success, with many items selling out in minutes and runners wearing full mileoff fits for marathons. This is only the beginning, and already mileoff has had huge success. They just launched their autumn-winter collection last month in October. I really enjoyed sitting down with Alice and having this conversation about how her brand mileoff began, and I really hope that you enjoy it too. Hello! Welcome to A Mug's Life, Alice.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier in the year because I reached out to you. I think I'd been following you. No, I didn't follow you on TikTok. I was starting to be shown your videos on TikTok. And then I started following you. And then I was like, oh, I really like what you're doing. And obviously I had this podcast. I'll just message her because I think what she's doing is really cool. And then you were like, yeah, let's go for it. But obviously you were right in the midst of launching your brand mileoff earlier in the year.
And here we are again in the midst of launching the next collection. It never slows down or stops, but...
Yeah, I'm sure we will talk about that because for everyone who actually may already know or may not know, could you talk a little bit about your brand mileoff and how this kind of, I imagine, quite crazy year has been for you?
Yes, well, I wish I could flip the camera and show you a big mood board that is behind on my desk. Just kind of encapsulates everything that mileoff is and I've been working towards for the past 2.5 years. Basically, I had the idea, about 2.5 years ago when I noticed a gap in the market for a women's running wear brand. And it kind of was like a light bulb moment of why can I not find the perfect pair of running shorts to run a marathon in that can hold 8 gels, my phone, my keys, and the big brands just weren't doing it. Nike, Lululemon, Adidas, it didn't exist. And so this planted the seed in my head because I'd always wanted to have my own brand. I just didn't know, what was that business idea. And I've been working in my old job at Dyson for nearly 5 years and I felt like I gained all the knowledge I needed. It was like a mini MBA in business. I had rotated around on a graduate program, so every 6 months I gained knowledge in a different area, from e-com to key account to sales to CRM. So I got all of this knowledge, I got this idea, and it just was like a perfect triangle with my love for running. This is just amazing, and I just became obsessed with the idea, putting this mood board together, the logos. I built everything on Canva, basically, hundreds of pages of doing the logo, the brainstorming, the first sketches. I then reached out working with a designer. She brought my sketches and ideas to life, got the CADs and tech packs, and then I went to find a supplier. And then so all of this sort of happened in 2 years, and we basically launched an International Women's Day this year, so in March. So we've been going for 6 months and it's been an absolute whirlwind, but it's been incredible. So much support from the amazing girls on Instagram and TikTok, as you said. I couldn't be more grateful to everyone who sort of bought from us, who's sent stories, sent messages, feedback, and saying how much they're loving what we're doing. That's sort of a whirlwind tour of the journey so far.
And I love this. I have so many questions. One of the first is, so you actually created the logo with Canva. I think you might have mentioned this, which is what prompted me to watch this. I started watching the Canva mini documentary with the founder.
Yes, on
Yeah.
Melanie, yeah.
This little logo that I use for the podcast is also from Canva. And I didn't really quite realise until listening to her backstory how inaccessible it was before, unless you were paying for Adobe or others, to create logos, and how amazing that is.
And I still can't use Adobe. I would love to be able to use it like a proper designer. I'm trying to learn. I've had to sort of learn a little bit to do our packaging and certain things where I've had to send Adobe files, but I still really struggle, and Canva is just so easy. I've been using it for probably over 10 years now. I first learned about it when I went to actually like a business entrepreneurial talk back in university, and someone said, this is a great tool, you should use it. You know, I've used it for free for so many years, and then eventually I was like, this is so worth paying for the premium. But over those years, just really got, I guess, I mean, it's easy to use, but there is a difference as well as knowing the basics and also being really familiar with the platform and being able to do amazing things with it. That has my brand book on it. When people ask me, when I'm now working with agencies, for example, we've got just got on board an email agency, and they're like, oh, can you send me your brand guidelines? And, you know, I haven't worked with anyone to create this. It is just me creating the typography, the logo, the colours. But at least I've been able to do that with Canva, because I think before Canva, how would I have been able to do that?
Yeah.
PowerPoint, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how you'd go about it on PowerPoint. No. So would you say the logo stayed quite true to how you created it at the start?
It did go through some iterations. So yeah, if you look at the very, very initial starting point, colours were different. I started with, I guess, a bit more of a boring logo, and as I was playing around with it, I was like, I really want this to stand out. I don't want this to be like a lot of the other brands at the time were just very, I don't know how to describe them, simple stick sort of like logos. And I really wanted this to be a bit more feminine, curvy, just something that was different that you hadn't seen before. And I think that's what we eventually got to and achieved. And it's quite a funny story, actually, how I did come to that logo, that transition. It was with a girl from my old work. I knew that she did some designing on the side and she knew how to use Adobe. And I just said after work one day, can we sit and just have a look at what I've done? I've got all of the inspiration and kind of where I want to take it, but I just don't know how to create it. And we literally sat at a little cafe after work for like 4 or 5 hours into the night and just sort of were playing around with lots of different fonts, and she was just helping take my ideas and putting them into Adobe. So yeah, I'll be always forever grateful. She didn't ask for anything, it didn't pay her, it was just someone to sit down, play around with. And yeah, we've got the mileoff logo.
That's incredible.
See on my hat.
Yeah, repping the hat.
Yeah.
You spoke at the start about identifying this gap and that there were lots of brands that you used yourself and looked up to. But I think you've talked about how a lot of those aren't female founded, aren't necessarily run by women. And I think that was part of what you wanted to make sure was then in your clothing and products that you were making.
Yeah, so you've really touched on like the two missions that we have. Obviously, the main mission was to make the best performance running wear for women in the world. I really hope one day we can grow into a brand that has a lot of money and resources and a team to dedicate everything to innovating with the materials, fabrics, designs. I'm doing my absolute best as I can as a one man band, one woman band. But yeah, that was the one main mission. But then the other side of it, as I started to do my research and into the other brands and noticed that there wasn't a single solo female founded running specific brand, I was like, there's something here that I want to prove on behalf of for women, that we can run a business in this space. And it's something that I'd always been really passionate about. Right from university, I did a paper on inequality, gender pay gap, right from leaving university. So one of my final year dissertations was the fact that even when we graduate in that first year, there's already this gender pay gap, which just didn't make sense to me. And so that really got me to look into women in work and confidence and females in business. And then as I progressed working at Dyson, I then volunteered as part of a employee-led initiative called She Leads, and it was about connecting women across the business and networking and putting on inspirational talks and talks that would give us the tools we needed to progress in our careers. So it's something that I've always been passionate about, and noticing the fact that there was this gap of women in the running space in a real male dominated industry. I was like, this is the perfect other mission to go alongside, so that mileoff is about daring women to dream bigger, taking those leaps, whether it's in your running and signing up for your first 5K or a marathon, or if it's in life, moving to a new country, going for that job that you've always wanted to go for, starting a podcast. So yeah, I think it just went really nicely together.
And is that part of the inspiration behind the name as well, in terms of mileoff?
Yes, it is. So for me, one of the most shocking facts that I just will never get over is that just 60 years ago, we weren't allowed to run marathons, and we were physically pulled off the course. That's in our parents, our mothers, our grandmothers' lifetime. To think that they grew up not thinking it was possible to run a marathon is just absolutely wild. So I really wanted the base of the brand, the logo, to mean to be seen, to be heard, to be bold. This is our time in running. So to be seen from a mile off, to be seen from a mile away, is about us having our impact, being bold. That's sort of the secret undertones of the name.
Yeah, because before I started to read into it, and also some of the articles, which is amazing. You've been in so many articles. We should talk about that. You've been in the Financial Times. You've had an article in Hype Bay. You've had an article in Runner's World, Sheer Lux, Cosmopolitan, and of course Emirates Woman, which you recently nominated. Is it right, for Woman of the Year?
Yeah, so they have a woman for each issue that they release each month, and we were in the September issue. I say me and my love were in the manifestation issue. So it was a pretty cool issue to be a part of, and how you can manifest your dreams and make them come true.
Amazing. And in some of those articles, you spoke about those statistics and how few sports and apparel brands are female founded, or even co-female founded. It's quite astonishing when you look into it.
I think, I don't have the exact percentages, but if you look at what you wear to run, it's definitely over half. It's probably 80-90% is from a male founded brand, which you just don't realise. I am a big fan of Lululemon still. I think their quality is amazing, but a lot of people wouldn't realise that it was actually a male who founded it. And I think out of the top 10 sportswear giants, I think it's only Columbia Sportswear that was a male and a female founders. The rest are all male founders. And even the emerging, if you look at specific running brands now, the Bandit, Satisfy coming out of the US, they're all male founded. So we need more women taking the leap and launching businesses and funding. That's a whole nother topic, that there just isn't funding. It's 2% of VC funding goes to female founded businesses. So that's another hurdle. We could have more women actually launching businesses, but then to be able to scale and grow them to the sizes of the other big businesses, that's a whole nother challenge.
Yeah, that is quite a eye-opening statistic, such a small number. So of course, when these big brands are launching their clothing, they don't necessarily have the personal experience to then design those clothes with the people that they're for in mind.
It's really interesting, actually. I won't mention the brand. It's actually a female founded brand, like not a running specific one, but I met in the summer a girl I was running with her at a run club, and she said, oh, my partner, a male, works for this brand, and he's like a designer for them. I don't think they have many designers because they're not huge. And I just thought, how can you have a male designer? Maybe if you have a big team and, one male, but you have multiple females. If you've only got one or two designers for a women's wear brand, gym, athleisure brand, how does that work? Because even she said, oh, he has to bring me samples and get my feedback and stuff, because he doesn't know it's not going to be made for his body. So it just blows my mind. We're actually going to hire for a role that's going to be around product, and it's going to be an absolute must that it has to be a female, because you just have to understand the female body and who and what you're designing for.
Yeah, and you've reflected that in the functionality within your pieces. I put in capitals when I was doing some prep for this, there are no pockets, or something like.
We need the pockets.
Yeah, that was it. We need pockets. But definitely what you've done so far has resonated with so many people, because it's that cross between functionality and also looking good and colourful, and not just black or neutral colours.
Yeah, when I first started designing and thinking about what the first collection would look like, I knew that we were going to have to stand out and do something different because there is an absolute sea of emerging brands, especially sort of athleisure, yoga, gym brands that you can scroll on your TikTok, Instagram. Every other post will be, oh, this new brand which has taken blanks from a supplier and they just stuck their logo on. And how are we going to stand out amongst that sea, that mass? And for me, it was always about the main idea of having pockets, having functionality. Like, this is just what didn't exist. So that was so important that when I first started designing the collection, I had my bullet point list of this has to have this, and this. And then we think about, okay, and then how can we make this look good? And then the colour palette and everything.
What you've achieved so far in what on the outside you could say is a saturated market in terms of sports and running wear shows how much there has been a need for what you're making.
Yeah.
And it's testament, obviously, as well, all the work you've done, because you've been building a social following for quite a while before, or whilst you were doing it, but I guess you couldn't say, this is what I'm creating.
It's interesting, because I think some people can just look at the mileoff journey, and in, I guess, 9 months, so I announced Jan 1st of this year what I was doing, so it's kind of been 9 months going from sort of 0 to 45,000 followers. I mean, to me, that still seems absolutely wild that we've kind of done that, but a lot of people won't actually see the work done before that, which has helped me improve how I'm creating reels, how quick I am at editing to be able to get out more content, understanding the social media world. It was October 2022 when I launched my Alice Rose Runner page. And honestly, when I first launched that, you can scroll back and see the very first reels, they're still there. They were terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. I just really wanted a creative outlet. I loved making things, bringing something to life, adding the audio, filming, getting better at photography. And yeah, I just started putting things out into the world, and whenever I do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability. And so I got really intrigued at how, if I'm putting value out, partly I wanted to share my experience of running with other women, and I've had quite an up and down journey with marathons, and I didn't know anything about nutrition and hydration, so I wanted to share all of those learnings. And I thought, if I'm going to be sharing this, it's only going out to 200-300 people. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into making these videos. I might as well try and get this to a bigger audience. I kind of committed to posting almost every day. I think if you look now, I've posted about 600 posts, which is like every other day since I started, having that consistency. And really that has been what has helped me with mileoff. I never had any viral moments in that initial journey of those 3 years. It was very, very slow growth. But that has helped me now on the mileoff page to be able to create the content that I do and have some really cool viral moments with the brand.
You're very honest with sharing every part of your journey, and I think everybody likes to get behind or feel like they're the first to know about a brand new cool brand. And also you embody the take a leap, take a risk, doing what you love, which is quite difficult, particularly for women, to deal with sometimes that self-confidence and having the confidence to do things like that, and also other people and what their thoughts are. Have you had any to deal with that along the way?
Yeah, and it comes back again to research that I did on that paper at uni, that one of the main reasons why there is a pay gap when we leave university is because of our self-confidence and our self-worth versus males. There's lots of studies done of male and a female, and they're both given an accounting job, and they say, you know, what salary do you think you should earn? And the woman replies less than the man. There's a lot of things behind it and how we grow up and what we think. And I'm so passionate about encouraging women to believe in themselves more and have the confidence. And that doesn't mean that I am super, super confident and I don't have any self-doubt. I doubt myself every day and I think, oh my gosh, we're doing so well, but could it all just disappear? There's loads of things that go around in my head every day. And especially when I was coming up to handing my notice in and quitting my job, I didn't know any of this was going to happen. It was completely unknown. It was a huge risk. I tried to tell myself that it was basically like taking a year out traveling. People take a gap year to go traveling. I was like, well, I'm just taking a year out to do something that I love, like passionate about, and build a business. And if it didn't work out, I would get a job at the end of it. I was in a fortunate position that I'd saved, been working for 5 years. I'd saved enough to live for this year, so I didn't have the financial stress. So living off of my savings. So whichever way the business went, it wouldn't be that. I mean, I would have lost a lot of money in my savings, but it's not the end of the world. I'm fortunate I can always go back to my family home if I really lost everything. But it was super scary, and I actually thought it was going to be a lot of a happier day than it was. In my head I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I'm going after my dreams, I'm going to have my notice in. I've been working at Dyson for 5 years, so it really did feel like I was ready for that next step. But as it got closer, I was absolutely terrified. I actually developed anxiety. I think it was like a bit of a build up of burnout for that whole year, working the job, working mileoff on the weekends. I was getting so anxious about actually leaving, because I guess I've learned that I do like a plan, and humans in general, right? Any sort of change, and a big change like that is terrifying. But I'm so glad that I went through with it, because I haven't looked back since, and we wouldn't be where we are now if I wasn't putting 110% of my time into the business. If I was still trying to do my 9 to 5 and that, it just, yeah, I would probably be completely burnt out. And one of the things would have given.
Yeah. I bet you can't really imagine now what would have happened if you'd let all those things get to you and think, I'm just going to keep doing something that you probably enjoyed and could go along with forever, but then you have your own dream.
Yeah, I had one pivotal conversation with an old manager in my job. It was around when I was handing my notice in. There was a few discussions of whether I potentially stay on and do some part-time work, or they're exploring all the options. And yeah, let's just say it was a very tense conversation that I wasn't really expecting, and the business was being questioned quite a lot, like my idea. He was sort of asking me a lot about the finances. Is it actually going to work? He's giving me those stats that you have to do 7 businesses before the 8th one is successful. This was going to be kind of my first big one. I've had a small business before, so okay, my second business, the stats the stats don't look good. I left that conversation feeling very stressed. This was coming from someone who I did respect, who's been in the industry of business in general for many years, and I did question myself a lot, but it actually just gave me the fire to sort of prove him wrong. And I was like, I really believe in the idea, I believe in myself, and I handed in my notice the next day. That was just the nail in the coffin. I was like, no, that's it, I've got to go and do this. But it could have easily swung both ways, so I really hope that anyone else, any other female who's in that position, will stand their ground, keep their chin up, and keep believing in something that if you've put in the hours and you've researched enough, you've got the data to say that there's a need for this, you've put in enough hours to have your solid plan for launch and everything, then there's no reason why you should let anyone talk you out of going after your dream.
Words to live by. It's bold, it's brave, and I love it. So many people can probably resonate with having a dream or something that they'd love to do, but it feels really far away. Mm-hmm. How would you recommend, from your personal experience, if you have something that you love or something that you're dreaming about, how do you take that first step to making it a reality?
I would say, obviously I was working on mileoff for almost 2 years before we launched, and I remember I actually got a video of myself the very first day that I acted upon this idea, and it's me just putting a pen or pencil to paper and started sketching some ideas. And it literally is just taking that step, because it did feel so daunting. I had no clue how to find a manufacturer, a supplier, how I was going to get to the end goal of having a product. I literally had no clue and no real contacts who could help me. But it's just taking that one small step of what can you do in that moment. I could start sketching out some ideas. I could go on Canva. I could start playing around with a logo, with a title. I could chat with GPT, not at the time, but now you can just jump on ChatGPT, Google, start pulling in some research. There's so many steps that you can do. Start an Instagram page, start a personal brand. There's so many things that you can do, and you do have to just do them in small steps and be realistic with the time scale. I just started doing those things, and then once I kind of had the logo and the first bits, I was like, right now I do, well, I'd say for me, after a year of kind of dreaming about this idea, it was really Jan 1st of last year when I was like, right, I now have to take the actionable steps to really bring this to life. So that was finding a freelance designer who was going to help bring my ideas to life and come up with the CADs and the tech packs. And then when I had that, I was like, right, now I need to go find a manufacturer. I went to trade shows and used contacts of contacts, sent lots of emails. So it is just taking it in bite-sized chunks, but also you just have to do the thing. I went to a talk with Chris Williamson and they were talking about doing the thing. And I honestly think that is just the most important bit of advice, is you just have to do it. For a year, my weekends, I said no to every social thing with my friends because I literally was like, I need to sit and I need to do this. When my week was full with work, the only time that I had was weekends. And so it's putting that time in your diary to say, I'm going to make this happen. And for a bit that might be, or for a long time, that might be sacrifices, but it's sitting down and it's just working away, chipping away at your idea.
Yeah, and look what it can lead to. I mean, as you said, it wasn't overnight. I guess when you launch, it can seem overnight because people sort of see it from, if they're not following you or seeing it before, from March. All the work that you put in is not then a coincidence that success happens.
Yeah, and it's the same, right? Like I look at big brands who I aspire to now and I think, wow, like I want to be there. I want to be executing campaigns to the level that they're doing, but they've been going for 10 years. You just see the success stories of these incredible founders and their brands, but they've had 10 years of working away. So it's very easy to, see a big gap of expectation versus reality and what we perceive and what we think is where we want to be and what we want to create, but not actually seeing the work that it takes to get there.
Yeah, it's like the swan on the working really hard under the surface and then just like floating along at the top.
Yeah, that's what I feel like most days.
Well, but do you know what? That's real life, isn't it? You see a success and the whole point is often, you do see some of the behind the scenes, but obviously you're not necessarily going to film yourself if you've had a really tough day or you've had delays or something's gone wrong. Yeah. You don't necessarily get the full picture, but you do put quite a lot of that expectation setting and realistic point of view on your socials.
I really try to. I think what was missing for me when I first started this journey was seeing these amazing founders and hearing these stories, but not seeing someone who was literally taking it from zero in the stage that I was in. So I did want to share the journey if it helped anyone, even with the most basic things like finances, which is not my strength. But if I can share what I'm learning about VAT and taxes and things, even if it's in a very basic form, that's going to hopefully help someone who's at the same point in their journey, because a founder 5-10 years in, the things that they're dealing with is not going to be relevant to someone who's literally just starting. So I always wanted to share that to genuinely help, because I think for other female founders, if it just helps one or two people, then that's amazing. As you said, you don't share every single detail. There's lots of days. I can't even tell you the amount of problems that come up. That's just the one thing that I just didn't expect that you have to deal with. I can't always show those things because it might be related to something that's coming out and has to be a secret. As much as you can be transparent, there's things that you can't share. And just some days when you're really, really stressed, the last thing that you want to do is pick up the phone and record it and post it. I actually tried to, was it last week when it was my birthday, and I said I'm going to have my birthday off. It was my 30th. I'm going to have the Thursday off. But I'd committed to posting on TikTok like every day in the lead up to the autumn winter campaign. And on the Wednesday, I was like, I know that I've got my birthday, I'm going to be off. And then I had some work on Friday that was completely unrelated to mileoff that I committed to just to sort of make a little bit of extra income. So that was completely blocked out. And honestly, I was so overwhelmed. I went into my birthday with the added pressure of being like, oh, I just want to enjoy and relax. But how can you do that when you're just so stressed? And I remember trying to film myself in the morning before the birthday celebrations, like I need to get this video out. And honestly, I just I couldn't. I tried to record it so many times and I thought, you know what, this is silly. It's my birthday. I'm just not going to post. I broke the streak that I was doing on TikTok. But you know what, sometimes that is the way, and you can't show everything and you can't always hit everything that you're going to say and set yourself. And I needed to have a few days off, ended up taking off the weekend as well, because it all got too much. And that is the reality that you're not going to see because I haven't posted it. I think you hopefully will get an idea from what I post, you know, the amount of work and that goes into it to give a rough idea of what it's like of building a business.
Definitely. As a solo founder, it must be so hard. Not to be like, it must be really hard. I'm sure there's loads of positives, but it must be really difficult to switch off because you've probably always got somebody messaging you about something. And so taking that time out, have you, over the months of this year or the 2 years before, when probably it was even worse when you're working a full-time job and trying to build something on the side, have you managed to find ways or things, and I'm sure this doesn't happen all the time, like you say your 30th birthday, that allow you to feel like you can? Or is it still quite hard?
I think it's something that you're going to chase forever, right? Finding that, whatever that balance is, or not completely running yourself into the ground. I've actually just started working with a business mentor, which is really, really good, like mindset coach, which is helping me to put in boundaries in place and being accountable, because if it's just me, I'll wake up, I'll go on my phone, I'll start working, I'll end up sitting at the desk all day, I won't get out for a walk, I'll still try to squeeze my runs in, but then I'm eating dinner at 9 p.m. at night and then trying to get into bed and my brain's buzzing. And that is how the days have been since leaving my 9 to 5. You just lose structure completely because you're not going to an office and having that time before walking there and coming back to decompress. So it's kind of trying to put in place those tools and that routine again. A couple of things that have really helped is I was never like a journaling type person, but my mentor, he said, right, every morning I want you to send me a mindset report, and as part of that I write one intention for the day, one real focus, I write a learning from the day before, and then I write 3 wins from the day before, because everything is so fast paced and I just don't stop to take into account any achievements. And it's kind of like you're just chasing this never-ending goal. What happens when you actually hit a certain amount of followers or you hit a revenue target? You're always just looking to the next thing. So a part of this reflection piece every morning is to actually say, oh yeah, I did that, even if it is just getting out for a walk or something small. Everyone can look on the day before and think that was a little win that I did, and then something that I'm grateful for. And just doing that in the morning before I pick up my phone, before I go on social media or start answering emails, has actually just really helped to set me up a bit better in the day than just, grabbing the phone and being catapulted into getting messages from my suppliers, because they're in China, so they're a few hours ahead, so they're always going to be messages from them and issues and things. That's been really good. And also implementing the ScreenZen app is absolutely amazing for anyone who finds themselves doom scrolling on socials. I would just pick up phone, look at Instagram. It's just a habit, right? I think we all do it now. It's a free app and it only allows you to open it 9 times in the day, which might sound a lot to some people, but I don't know what it was before, probably in the 40-50 times. It gives you a 10-second blocker to say, like, why are you checking? It just makes me think, why am I going on this? Am I actually going on this for work, to upload a story, whatever? Or am I literally just filling time because I'm being frantic, and then you end up wasting half an hour on there. So that's been really good to just sort of limit the social media. And in the evenings as well, then that's it. I've used up my times and I try and switch off if I can, reading a book or something that isn't with screens. But that's in an ideal world. It doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, the sacrifices, isn't it? When it's you have the freedom to create your brand, but also the responsibility that it's all on you.
Yeah.
That's just made me think, when you're talking about the app that limits your screen time, I think I saw somebody on TikTok or something saying that they were so used to doom scrolling that they somehow ended up on LinkedIn when they never go on LinkedIn.
That's so funny, because I used to do that. Once you've gone through Instagram, you've gone through TikTok, you're like, oh, well, what's next? Go on LinkedIn. Yeah.
You end up going on like, oh, let's have a look at the weather app. Let's have a look at...
It's like procrastination.
Yeah. Your routine is possibly a good segue onto mugs, tea and coffee and chatting, all these things. Yes,
I was going to say, we haven't discussed. I thought we were going to start with the mug. We just jumped straight into it.
So, do you drink tea and or coffee in your life?
I don't drink coffee, and I don't actually really drink tea either. So I've never drank coffee. I worked in Costa as a barista in my gap year, so I don't know if that put me off smelling of coffee every day. I go home, you just can't get rid of the smell out of your clothes. So yeah, I've never been a coffee lover. I think living in Dubai when it's hot, it's not really something that you crave. I tried matcha for the first time over the summer back in London. I met the Perfect Head team who built their brand, like incredible brand on matcha, and I did quite like it, but I think I only had it a few times, and it's just because I'm not used to a hot drink or something in the morning. I'm just a water and electrolytes kind of girl. But I do have a mug for whenever the odd occasion that I do. A hot chocolate would probably be my choice with whipped cream and marshmallows.
Nice.
And this mug is very special because it is from Dyson that I got given before I left, with my name on it. I guess it just really does represent for me my journey and going from the corporate world going to mileoff, and I wouldn't be where I am without having done this job and meeting all the amazing people that I met. And it was just the coolest 5 years, going from the headquarters in the UK to working in Spain for a year in Madrid, and then coming here. Whenever I open my cupboard and see this sat there, I do think of my time at Dyson and everyone there.
And is that one of the Dyson products on the mug?
It is. It's actually the headphones. But yeah, I used to.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was like trying to work out. I was like,
yeah.
Is it a hair?
It
hair
could look
thing?
like the hairdryer you
Yeah.
used to fit. Yeah, the supersonic. I actually didn't work it. I worked in the hair care department, so everything, air wrap, straighteners, supersonic. It was really fun. It was great.
I imagine in that kind of role, you worked cross-team with a lot of different departments. When you've been building mileoff, the community aspect and leaning on people that you know has been really key for you, I believe, when you've been building it from scratch.
Honestly, I can't tell you how much. It's like, what is it, the saying that it takes a village to raise a child? It's literally the same with a business. Even though I'm a solo founder, so many people have had their small parts or big parts to play in building the brand. I mean, my parents, first of all, have to give them the biggest shout out, because I would not be able to do this without them. As we speak, they're actually labelling up hundreds of water bottles and accessories ready to be taken to the warehouse, because it now all needs to have the SKUs and barcodes and things. They, right from the start, were, I mean, I don't know if I gave them a choice really, but they were willing to help and ship out everything, because getting a 3PL warehouse from the start isn't really normally an option. Cost-wise, I did do it in Dubai just because I needed to be flexible to not be in my flat. If you're getting an order every single day, you have to have someone there who's going to package it up, and you don't know when those orders are going to come in. So they have been incredible doing that. My dad, he's figured out all of the Royal Mail postage, the shipping, how it all links up with Shopify and printing the labels. And my mum's there packaging it all. And then the post office, the postman comes every day and they give the bags and things. So they've been incredible. And then just along the way, I just springs to mind my good friend who I met at Run Club, Amy. She's a stylist, and she messaged me before the first ever launch, and she said, oh, if you need any help on your e-com shoot, then let me know. And she has been so amazing, because I didn't know how to do a shoot. Where do I start finding a studio, getting a photographer? What do we need to think about getting all the different pieces and styling them, and how that's going to go online? So she came in and helped, and then all of the girls from Run Club who are part of our campaign imagery, so I didn't have to pay for models. Just so many people. And even the freelance designer, I have to give a shout out as well to Sean. Someone recommended her to me and said it's really important to not just go to your factory with your sketches. You really need to have tech packs and CADs, otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time. And they said, oh, I've heard that Sean from Sean's studio is really good. Without her, I just don't think we would have really got the ball rolling. Working with someone and then having a contract and deadlines, it made me finalise the logo. It made me get all of the final designs. I was then like, I'm so far in and I put money into this that I then need to find a supplier to bring this to life. So yeah, there's been so many people along the way that have been amazing. Not to mention all of the amazing customers who have actually bought from us when we launched. All the girls, yeah.
And were your parents, when you told them about your idea, were they really excited about it? What was their reaction?
Yeah, they've always been so supportive with anything that I wanted to do in life and encouraged me to chase my dreams, whether that was moving country, going after whatever job I wanted to do, they would always help me. I feel like it's always a bit of a family affair. I remember when I had my Dyson interview, we'd be there brainstorming. I had to do a case study and we'd all be around the dinner table brainstorming ideas of what I could do as part of this case study. So they've always just been, my biggest supporters. And well, my dad is the runner of the family. It's a running joke. He's called Jogger John, which is quite funny. So he's like my biggest inspiration in running. I grew up on the sidelines cheering him on for marathons, and he was the one that encouraged me to sign up for my first ever marathon in Barcelona in 2018. Without him, I might not be doing any of this without discovering the passion for running. So I think he definitely gets excited, especially when I started to have some brand partnerships and getting free shoes and things. He absolutely loves it. And now having a business in the running space is pretty cool. He tries to sell all of our neighbours my pieces. So they come to the door and he's like, oh, Alice has released some new sunglasses, like you should try them on. And our poor neighbours are getting flogged.
That's great though, because he could just go and get some of them to try.
I don't know if they're quite our target audience, some of the elderly neighbours.
Oh, that's so lovely though, that they're so excited by it and that they're so supportive in that way, and also provide the inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad I haven't mentioned my mum, I have to say. So I think kind of living out a bit of a dream for her as well, because she did a degree in clothing technology from the London College of Fashion. So she's actually got all of the expertise that, I didn't have on fabrics, materials, design. We've always done fun projects together. As I was growing up, like over lockdown, we made scrunchies. We would choose Liberty of London silks, and then we would make them into scrunchies and send them out originally as to friends as little pick-me-ups when we were going through lockdown, those tough days in COVID. And then people were like, oh, I really like these, I want to buy them. So then we kind of turned it into a mini business. So we were there all evening sewing and making these scrunchies, and we'd always do things like that together. So she's also loving it, and I don't know what I would do without her to not send a message and say, what shall I do with this? Or we're getting the samples through and we do like the fit sessions together. It's amazing. I don't know what I would do without her either.
The support of people around you must be so key when building something like mileoff. Did you have a name for your scrunchie business?
It was Alice Rose Bespoke or something. It's terrible.
Love it.
Alice Rose BUGEJA, Alice Rose Bespoke. I didn't really do it as like a proper business because it was just friends. There's only a certain amount of scrunchies you can make by hand. It takes 2-3 hours to make each one. So I didn't want it to get that big or that official. I would just take some pictures, post it on a Instagram page, and then we had plenty of orders. I think we made 300 or 400 scrunchies in the end, which was kind of crazy.
That's a lot.
But yeah.
It's a lot of scrunchies.
Yeah.
Well, what mileoff may have been, I mean, maybe actually scrunchies, you could do a scrunchie product in the future.
I know a lot of people have asked for them matching. I need to add that back to the list. I keep forgetting about that one. But yeah.
I saw a brand, is it Stace? I never heard anybody say it.
I love that. Yeah, the big, amazing, beautiful scrunchies.
And I just saw that they've, I hope it's not like April Fool's. It's not April, is it? But glow in the dark ones for running.
I know. Today. I haven't seen it, but that's been on my list of something that I wanted to explore for autumn winter, but I didn't have time. But I'll have to check them out. That's maybe a collab.
That's really cool. You've had some quite, I'd say, amazing and really interesting collaborations. You've worked with some product brands, and also you've had some influencers that have really talked about your brand.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned them as well in the list of amazing girls who have supported us. We wouldn't be where we are without all of the support, the mentions, me fangirling over these content creators that I've followed for so long, and then to see them wearing mileoff is just absolutely crazy. We had early on Zoe, Ray, Lucy Georgia, Millie Pickles, Ree, Crisp. God, I feel bad if I don't mention them all, but just insane. And it's so crazy to see the website visits go up as soon as they're tagging us and people coming to our page, and the run vest selling out and being our hero item because of all these girls wearing them. Misha Grimes, actually, she's posted lots, and saw her this week again. She was wearing it, and yeah, God, it's amazing. I can't thank them enough, because I know as an influencer, when you get gifting and it's not a paid opportunity or it's not affiliate marketing where you're getting anything back, it really does mean a lot that they are just supporting and spreading the word without anything back for them. I'm very, very appreciative, and I hope that when we grow into a big enough brand to be able to give back, we'll remember all the girls who were there at the start that supported us and be able to give back to them then.
Yeah, because a lot of people ran the London Marathon, right, in mileoff.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, we had Selena, wore for London Marathon. They're both in full outfits, which was really, really cool. I'm hoping to be there this year. I wasn't actually on the sidelines, but I want to be there this year to see anyone else who's wearing mileoff. It'll be so cool to see that in person. And even like hearing stories. The coolest thing for me is when I hear like a girl who's ran a marathon in, say, or half marathon in Sydney, for example, in Australia, and she's like, oh, I was running and I saw someone else wearing mileoff, and so we kind of both were chatting and had a picture together, and how it brings people together, because there's not many, we're still such a small brand. It's not like seeing a Nike product. If you see someone mileoff, you're still very, very unique and one-off, so you have this kind of bond, which is just really cool to hear and see those photos after those races of people who have just met randomers and sort of said, oh, you're wearing mileoff, but it's something that's joining people together.
Yeah, I think you recently ran your first community event. It was part of the therhiclub?
Yeah, so we partnered with and the therhiclub, which was really cool. So that was back in August in London. We had 50 amazing girls come down. We even had one girl, Katie, who came all the way from Glasgow to London for the event. She's such a mileoff fan, which was, I nearly burst into tears when I found out. I was like, that's amazing, just to have that level of support. And it was quite a bougie event. We got a really cool location in the Lighthouse Social in Fulham. We did a 5k run along the river and then had refreshments after. And it was just really cool to see people in mileoff. We had the sunglasses there to buy, and lots of the girls were like trying them on. And because I don't get to see that, right, as an ecom business, people buying from your website, you don't see that moment of them trying something on and liking something, getting excited about it. So yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that's epic. Do you have any cool future partnerships coming up? You don't obviously need to say who and what.
We're going to have a really big, exciting launch event in October in London, but unfortunately that has been cancelled / postponed, so I can't talk about that, unfortunately. There's lots of ideas of things that I want to do next year. That's all under wraps. Big plans, and we will start hiring next year, well, as soon as we can. So that's really going to help us once we have 1 or 2 other team members. We'll be able to do a lot more events and partnerships. I'm at max capacity. There's so many things that I want to do, and I have so many ideas, and I don't have the time to do them. There'll be lots more on the cards next year, hopefully, once we have some extra hands.
I don't know how you do it. There's so much to do. Don't even know how you did it when you had your full-time job.
No, neither. That was crazier. That was just... It's all a blur of how I manage that.
But do you know what? Going back to your Dyson mug, I think maybe I'm being over symbolic here, so do tell me if I am. The meaning of you having the Dyson mug that's really meaningful and important to you shows how you have these moments. Is this what I want to do? I don't know. And you keep going. You think, are you going in the right direction? It shows how much actually that led to what is now in mileoff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people nowadays want to jump straight into following their dream or building a business and maybe leaving uni and going straight into something. And at the time when I was leaving uni, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I kind of knew that I wanted to do something in marketing and sales, but I think taking your time and going on a journey to really learn and get experience before you go into doing something yourself is so important. There's a lot of things that I probably don't even realise that I know how to do. And even this past week, I did my first speaking event, which was really cool. And I wasn't actually that nervous, which is really nice, because I used to be terrified at Dyson doing presentations. And I reflected and I thought, wow, if I hadn't have done those 5 years at Dyson, giving presentations, standing standing up in front of people, going through a whole PowerPoint, talking about numbers and everything, I wouldn't have been in a position to now go and do this speaking event telling the mileoff story. I would have either been super, super nervous and scared and probably stumbled over my words, but it's all like a learning journey, and that's just one aspect of being in a corporate job that I got better at, like the public speaking. I mean, there's still lots of things that I need to improve on, and I know that I spoke way too fast. I'm probably speaking too fast now. But there's so many things like email. I learned really in depth in that topic, events, PR, all these different aspects. And I think, yeah, in the moment, there was some bits that I didn't want to do. Like I went on a graduate rotation and I did 6 months in e-com, and we were doing really in-depth analytics on Adobe and looking at how users came onto the website and how we could change button colours to increase conversion. And I hated it, but looking back, I'm like, wow, that's so amazing, because I set up my website, I understand all of these things. I don't have much time to implement it, but I know what would need to be done to improve the website if I needed to, and that is all thanks to the experience at the time. So yeah, a lot of the time you don't know that what you're doing is really going to help you in the future. So I guess just have that faith and do what you're doing to the best of your ability, and it will pay off in the future.
Very true. Very wise words. We have a quick fire favourites round.
Okay.
I say quick. Some of the questions I'm like, it's not that quick of an answer. But
okay.
So I thought we could start off with, what would be your perfect Sunday? Or let's say off day, because you might be working on a Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay. So if it's not working, probably have a bit of a lie-in, because I don't normally get a lie-in, so just a nice little lie-in, and then get up and go for a nice run, maybe a long run, maybe just a 10k, depending on what I'm feeling, by the beach, and then having some breakfast on the beach after. And then, God, this is actually quite hard, because I feel like my life is so wrapped up in mileoff, and
you could have mileoff in there. You could have just a little bit.
I guess like something creative and brainstorming, a bit of like mood boarding would be fun. I also love tennis, paddle, so maybe going and having a match of paddle with friends, and then going out for like a nice dinner would also be in there. I need to think about this, because I definitely need to have a better ideal day.
That sounds great though.
Yeah.
What is your dream marathon destination?
Oh gosh. I feel like I keep getting swayed, because I keep seeing all the different marathons when they're happening, like Berlin and then in Australia, and I'm like, oh, I really want to do that one. This should be on my bucket list. I need to have, I feel like Tokyo or somewhere completely different would be quite cool. New York does sound amazing. I feel like some of the American ones are quite similar to London in terms of the support and the excitement. Probably one of those. I also want to go back and do Ibiza or Spain. I'm going to go and do the half in December in Malaga, a marathon in Spain. I feel like it'd be quite like a full circle moment, because my first ever marathon was in Barcelona. So sorry, that was not one answer.
You can have them all.
Lots that I want to do.
Also, didn't know that Ibiza had a marathon. That's cool.
So actually, Caitlin, a really amazing customer, early on, she supported us throughout. She wore our full lime green fit to the Ibiza marathon, which is really cool. So yeah, I saw all of her content and I was like, oh, that would be an amazing place to go, do the marathon, and also make a bit of a holiday of it.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Do you have a favourite motto or piece of advice?
I do love a good quote. I think one that I keep coming back to myself is, it's not about making the right decision, it's making the decision right. I think I've heard that from Grace Beverley. I don't know if she's the original person to sort of say that. But especially as a founder, every single day when you're making decisions, you're going to make some good and bad decisions, but it's about what you do after to make them right. And you can waste a lot of time and energy, even like big decisions in life. Sometimes you don't know. I guess one example of splitting up with my ex, these things that you go around in your head is it right? Is this the right thing? And I think the best thing knowing is taking something forward and just making a decision and parking it. And that is what you've just got to live with and not go back on it too much.
You said you don't often drink tea, but if you were having a hot drink, would you ever have a snack with the hot drink? And if so, what would be your favourite kind of snack to have with it?
So custard creams came straight to mind. We had them on our shoot, on our ecom shoot. My friend was like, shall I just get some snacks and fruit and bits and pastries to have? And I was like, yeah, just go crazy, buy whatever. And she bought a pack of custard creams, and I'm not joking, I think I had the entire pack throughout the shoot. And I feel like that is the perfect sideline to tea, isn't it? A custard cream, very British.
I'm completely with you there. If I had to pick between a custard cream and a bourbon, it's always a custard cream.
Yeah, it's just tricky, but I think custard cream just gets it.
51% to 49%.
Yeah.
What would be a dream brand partner for mileoff?
Oh, so I don't know if I say this, but so putting out into the universe, manifesting, I'd love to work with someone like D. Louise and the jewellery brand, just because I love their stories, like very similar, female founder, and it's so cool to see what they've done. And I feel like with our brand imagery and what we do in our campaigns, a jewellery partner would be really, really cool. So maybe we can see if we can make that happen next year.
Well, you've put it out there now, so it's got to happen.
Yeah, I'll come back to this recording if it ever happens.
I also really like that because it's surprising in a way because it's cross-category. But actually, you're so right, you could have any partner.
It's just like the feminine, girly, fun aspect. Like I always wear my jewellery when I'm running. And I know they always speak about being sweat-proof, tarnish-proof, life-proof. So yeah, I think that would be a nice collaboration to go for in 2026.
Well, I'm sure it's going to happen. If you were on a desert island, who would you have with you? Often I say that immediate family are already there. You can have up to 6 people.
Oh my goodness, okay. First person that came to my mind was Grace Beverley. She is like my absolute idol in business as a female founder, and I just feel like it seems like she can do absolutely everything. She's got multiple businesses, she's just amazing, so I feel like she would be useful to have on the island for whatever we would need her for. Is this like we're in survival mode, right? Or
I don't know.
Could be whatever aspect.
It could just be whatever you like, really. You could just be living
purposes.
Yeah. You could be living in luxury, or you could be working hard.
Ooh. So Phil Knight, founder of Nike, I'm obsessed. That's my favourite book. Shoe Dog's my favourite book. So obsessed with his story, and I'd love to just have him there and pick his brains and learn from him about everything that he did to build Nike. So we've got two business people, so probably should not have any more in the business sphere. Gosh, who else? I feel like you need a chef. I just listened to a podcast with Jamie Oliver on, so I feel like that's forefront of my mind. I'm like, why not have Jamie Oliver on there so he can cook? Like, I don't love cooking. It's one of my biggest. Yeah, if I don't have to cook ever again in my life, I'd be happy. So I think having Jamie Oliver there to cook us amazing food would be good. That's 3, I think, for now.
Just those 3.
I've still got 3 to think about, but I'll probably think tomorrow. But oh yeah, I'd have them on.
That's a good lineup. You've got lots of things covered. You'd probably create a new business, the 4 of you.
Yeah, I think so. That's involving food, really. Something food related.
Be like food and activewear and loungewear and shoes.
And shoes.
I'd love to see that. Favourite podcast? I know you said you listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yes.
So
God, I go, Grace Beverley's Working Hard, Hardly Working. I'm listening to a lot of Emma Grede, Aspire right now. I loved Ladies Who Launch by Rochelle Humes. Sweat Equity, I shout about them all the time. If you're a business owner and want to learn more about social media marketing, they are just insane for actionable tips on organic social and marketing strategy. So listen to a bit of Mel Robbins as well. Diary of a CEO, that's probably my most long-standing podcast that I've listened to for years. That's a good lineup.
It's a good
mix.
If it was a Mel Robbins podcast 3 years ago that sort of changed the course. Basically one about the whole sort of nobody's coming, and if you want to do something, you've got to get up and do it. And she told this story, it just really, when something just lands with you. And it was that a woman who was in maybe her 60s or 70s had a fully written manuscript for a book on her fridge for 30 years and not done anything with it. I think that was what she said. I don't want to misquote her, but Even if that person actually did something now, it would be worth it. But yeah, that's so true. And you've just got to kind of, like you have with Mile Off, it's got to be uncomfortable and scary, but that's what it takes to make it happen.
Yeah. I think often in people's lives it takes something bad to happen to realise the fragility of life and how we don't have time and things. Like something pretty sort of sad happened at the start. Well, not sad. Something that you don't expect or want to ever happen, like with your family, happened at the start of this year. And thank God she's okay. Receiving that phone call and going through what we've gone through this year with her family member and an illness. And I'm just so glad that it didn't take something like that for me to quit my job and go after this, because I know it does take that for a lot of people. But I was so pleased actually to be in the position to not have a job and I could be mobile and I could work from wherever. It has really helped this year, but it also was just a reminder that you've always got to go after what you want to do. You just never know time wise, and I'm glad that I'm living my life, and I have been living my life that way, that I've always gone after what I wanted to do and not waited around, because you never know.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite sobering when you think about that, isn't it? It just makes you realise, yeah, actually it's sort of now.
Especially turning 30, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, where's that come from? I still feel like I'm early 20s, but...
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I was 30 earlier this year. It's like,
yeah. And you have to do these things because time does really fly. So...
Well, look, you're doing it, and that's...
Yeah, we're in it. We're in the middle of it.
And it's an amazing story, and I think that's people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Someone doing what you've done. Do you have a favourite song to run to or that hypes you up every time you listen to it?
Oh God, I normally very mainstream, just put on motivational songs playlist on Shopify. I'm thinking about on Spotify. What would have been my final songs for getting me over the line in London? I love a good Spanish song. So, because I lived in Spain for a couple of years and I studied Spanish at university, when I'm running, I normally put on top 40 Spain, or I love a bit of reggaeton or Spanish music. Like that just gets me going.
I think that's a good tip for people, because some people might not be listening to a Spanish playlist. So maybe next time you want to run.
I'm kind of strange. I actually feel like the emotional, slower moving songs get me more fired up rather than like a hardcore. I'll normally be in a deep emotional space that gets me like...
Well, I know a lot of people listen to podcasts when they run.
Yeah.
I've not done that.
Oh no, I do. When I'm training for a marathon, if I'm doing like a long run and it's 2-3 hours, my first hour is a podcast to just get the first hour out of the way, and then I'll transition to music for the last hour or two. Otherwise, listening to music for 3 hours is a lot. Like an Audible or a podcast to pass the time.
It's a good strategy. I like it. I haven't done a marathon or anything. I did a half years ago, but I like to feel like I'm in What Happens in Vegas with Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher when they're in a movie. Sometimes I put on that the What Happens in Vegas playlist when she's running.
Oh, that's such a nostalgic throwback to like a movie from a chick flick from childhood.
I love to feel like the main character when I'm running. Do you have anything on your current wish list for yourself to buy or to listen to, or anything really?
Oh, one of my wish lists when I turned 30 was I wanted to do a fitness retreat, which I did actually buy for myself. So I guess that doesn't really count, but I have signed up for a week in Sri Lanka, which I'm really excited for. After building the business and not really taking a holiday or a lot of time for myself, I'm trying to put that back in now to just take these breaks. So that was on my wish list, and it came up on a WhatsApp group that I was in with my local run club. They're like, we're arranging this fitness retreat. So I was like, right, let's just do it. Normally I take a while to think about these things, but I was very spontaneous and booked it. That's actually quite nice that there's not something that I really want, I think. I think that's a good thing.
Maybe that's a nice way, because it kind of shows that you're, not to be really cliche, but you're building a life that you're enjoying to the extent that there isn't something that you're thinking, oh, that's what I want.
There's nothing that I feel like I need. I'm super happy with my life at the moment, where I live, like in Dubai and in the marina here where I live, having sunshine every day and getting to work on Mile Off and stuff. I couldn't ask for more.
Sounds pretty special. I just have one final wildcard question, and that is, do you have a favourite colour of the products that you have launched so far?
Yeah, so I actually just posted today on my story about the lime green colour, because we still have girls who tag us from the first collection, what they're wearing, their vests and things. And the mileoff lime green, I think, will always have a special place in my heart, just because it is the brand colour. It's so different to anything that you see out there. The lilac was kind of the favourite, I guess, in general from people, but that's not so unique, not as unique as the lime green, I'd say. So yeah, that will probably forever be my favourite colour. But I just realised that I think behind me throughout I've been showing some products which are being released in a few weeks.
We can't see any products, don't worry.
I think it's very
there.
So we've got an amazing new colour palette which I'm super excited about. Stay tuned, that's coming very soon for sort of 3 brand new colours for our autumn winter collection.
Watch this space.
It's
so
literally
exciting.
Watch this space.
The reason that I was like, oh, it'd be amazing to talk to you is because I think what you're doing is so brilliant, and I'm sure that it will continue to grow and have huge success. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, can't wait to see what you keep doing. It's really cool.
Oh, and I hope the same for you in the podcast. It's really cool. I started a small podcast. It was like an internal thing in Dyson. That should have been part of the story of the mug. But me and my friend in our first year on the graduate programme, we started a podcast called Dissect. So it was all about dissecting people in Dyson and seeing the real people behind the leaders and who they were at work. So we interviewed the chief people officer, the chief marketing officer, all these senior managers, and really getting to understand their journeys to where they were. But it was very basic, but I know how long and how much organisation it takes to research, get ready for an episode, record, the editing, and we were doing very basic editing and recording and things.
Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful to hear about the story, and there's so much more to come, and everybody should look out for the launch. Which date is it?
In mid-October. I'm not going to commit to an exact date. We're just finalising a few things. Mid-October, we'll start to post this weekend. Early next week, we'll start to reveal lots of bits and pieces. So yeah, we'll let you know the date very soon. Watch this space.
Yeah.